Go home in this fine, beautiful day we have.
First daylight savings time meeting this year.
Yay. Okay, we'll call the meeting to order and we will say the pledge of allegiance. We actually have a nice flag up here.
Caps off and phones on silent, please.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. Now you said after pledging, now
Yeah,
all of a sudden you yelled it.
I'm sorry.
Okay. Okay, roll call for the
Shelley Cook?
Don Felton.
Bert Caldwell.
Okay, we have a real leader. Okay. Approval of the agenda.
I move we approve the agenda. There's a change to the agenda. Okay, I wanted to add a discussion item about the trailer park down here on. I want to add an item to the discussion period, item number 3, about the trailer park going in on 200 by Tamarack Road. And then I would suggest we accept the agenda as amended.
Okay, second.
All in favor?
Aye. Okay. We have the approval of the minutes from February.
Short discussion is, Shelley was kind enough to do about 12 pages of minutes from our February meeting, which was a little too much to publish. I got it down to 4 pages. She got it down to 2. We knocked it around on the email, and we have to disclose that as a council, we did discuss this, all right? And we've decided to go with the 2-page for submission to the county commissioners, with the 4 pages as an addendum for detail. So,
I move to approve that.
I second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Now we have public comment, stuff that's not on the agenda. Anybody?
Not really related, but
Do we have a new baby in the council?
Not here tonight.
you're just missing one important factor, right?
Right. Olivia had a baby, 20 pounds. No.
20 pounds.
20 inches. 20 inches. Little bitty girl, baby came out walking, okay? Now, 20 inches, 7 pounds, 11 ounces.
Okay, that's better.
And named Auguste Hayes hyphenated Hill. So,
Well, congratulations, sir.
excuse me, Ryota hyphenated Hill. Right.
Congratulations.
Yes, Mike.
Yeah, on your agenda here tonight, I don't see where, you can tell me if I'm out of order, where it goes back to what we discussed about the last meeting with the noise in the community.
It's on there.
That's on there.
It's on there.
It's the number
It's
1
always-
item under
Oh, I'm
discussion.
sorry, I'm out of turn now.
All right. Anything else?
Okay, any announcements? Anybody got any announcements? Judy.
Of course.
Surprise. Get your timer started. I got a whole bunch of them.
Okay.
Okay, I'll go in chronological order. On Sunday, Winter Storm canceled our last history roundtable, so it's back on this Sunday, March 18th. And it's going to be making certain it goes on prose and poetry of Bonner and the Lower Blackfoot. And it's at 2 o'clock at St. Anne. And the best news is that the St. Anne Parish Pasty Dinner is going to follow that meeting. So it's a win-win.
What's the date again?
March 18th, 2 o'clock. The next night, Friends of Two Rivers is holding what we're calling a community confab, which is just a conversation, but with a little newer word, on Monday, March 19th at 7 o'clock at the Hellgate Lions Park Barn. That's at 1305 Hageland, if you're not familiar. We're inviting you as council and community members to explore ways that the Hellgate Lions Park can play a role in community life. We hope you can attend, and please invite others who might be interested in sharing your ideas. And then just briefly, because a lot of people haven't had a chance to know this, Hellgate Lions Park is now part of the county Parks and Trail System. It was established in 1977 by the Hellgate Lions Club. The property was acquired with the support of Missoula County, so when the Lions disbanded in December of 2016, the county became the sole owner of the park. Friends of Two Rivers was named park trustee by the Missoula County Commissioners in 2017. A little bit about how the park is funded. The park is to be self-sustaining with funding coming from rentals and grants. No tax dollars are allotted to the park. Caretakers live on site, providing security, lawn maintenance, and snow removal in exchange for lot space and a small stipend from park rentals. And then I'd like to close with the mission statement of County Parks and Trails. Our mission is to provide and maintain a sustainable system of parks and trails that protects the diversity of habitats and open space where people of all ages may participate in activities blending passive and active outdoor recreation. Finally, and the most fun part, on Saturday, March 31st, the annual Easter egg hunt will be held at Hellgate Lions Park. It is a free event for children 10 and under. The hunt starts at 11 a.m. at the sound of the Missoula Rural Fire Department Station 4 fire engine siren. But children can visit with the Easter Bunny starting at 10:30. Thanks to many individuals, organizations, and businesses, we are collecting a lot of candy and prizes. However, if you would like to donate, please email me at Hellgate Lions Park to scrunch it all together, hellgatelionspark@gmail.com, and donations are tax deductible. The event is being managed by Friends of Two Rivers, the Milltown Moose Lodge number 2714, and the Lady Moose, and the congregation of the Outdoor Life Ministries Church. We will be stuffing many, many eggs with candy at the Hellgate Lions Barn at 7 o'clock on Monday, March 26th. Please join us. Thank you.
Judy, do you have any information on the St. Patty's Bash that I'm seeing green signs?
I don't. It looks like it's going to be at Harold's Club.
Yeah, so I think it's a moose event.
It is, I think.
And it goes to
Fundraiser
Watson's, but I
to
don't
Watson's.
know what the date was. Was it this
St.
coming up?
Patrick's Day. I'm assuming
Is it on
Friday or-
St. Patrick's
yeah.
Day?
The
Okay.
17th, wasn't it? Or-
Friday, that's Friday then?
No,
Saturday.
Is it?
Saturday would be St. Patty's.
It's on a Saturday?
So,
Okay. Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up. I believe it's a benefit for the Watson Children's Center. It's gonna be corned beef and cabbage. They're starting at 5. I drive
Yeah, I
by
know,
the
I
sign
drive-
and
I
I
drove
look
by
at it,
it.
but I don't. So anyway, there's green, fluorescent green signs up all over the community. So slow down and take a look at it, and that's.
unlike Judy and I.
Yeah, Saturday.
Well, thank you, Judy. Anybody else with any announcements? Although she announced about everything there is to announce. Okay, we're going to go on to guest speakers, and Mike Custudia, you're first.
Hi, I'm Mike Custudia. I'm with Montana Fish, Wildlife and Parks, the Milltown State Park Manager. Know a bunch of you. Some of you I'm not so familiar with. Also want to introduce Olivia Hollis. She's our new AmeriCorps member for Milltown State Park.
Good deal.
And she started in January. And will be with us until November. So she's done a good hand so far, and got a lot of work to do this year. And so Bert had asked me if I'd give an update on the BDG Park acquisition that we're looking at. And I said, well, I don't know if I have a whole lot. I know some of us are very concerned with this. Don't know if I have a whole lot of information at this point, but I do have a few other updates as well. But so as some of you may be aware, we have been offered a donation of the Bonner Development Group, the Bonner Learning Park. And that was quite some time ago. I think in May of 2016 it was first proposed. And so we've been looking into it, doing our due diligence. We've done a lot of work on it thus far. You know, things like getting it surveyed, getting it appraised. We have to do a phase 1 environmental analysis. But we've ticked off most of the boxes that we need to accomplish to bring it on board. You know, nothing is ever easy out here. It seems like there's some issues with access to the site, but we're hopefully working with the railroad and gonna work through some of those. So that's just kind of the quick update on that. Again, if people aren't familiar with the site, it's where the caboose is, and then there's that nice shelter kind of just up above the floodplain, and then there's 20 plus acres on the floodplain proper that were restored as part of the Milltown Superfund effort. Happy to answer any questions thus far, or Carl?
Sorry, Mike, I just have to ask.
You gotta ask.
Time frame?
15 years?
No, don't tell me soon.
Oh, it's been 15 years.
I really can't give you a time frame. Originally, we thought it would be like 18 months. And that was back in May of 2016. We definitely had some unexpected events happen in that time frame. One of them, we lost our park division administrator, and so we were without leadership in Helena for almost a year. So that kind of set us back. We kept moving forward on it though. I mean, we worked with our partners at the county. They did the survey for us. We've had it appraised, and so we've invested a lot of time and money in it. I just can't, I'm not trying to be slippery or anything, Carl, but it's a good question. Is what everybody wants to know is when can we get in there? Until we finish our due diligence, and that includes figuring out an access issue with the railroad, and what the options are there. I don't want to throw something out there and just tell you something.
Okay, so you got a lot of hurdles to clear.
We have some hurdles yet, yes. Yeah.
Do you get the money that was in the water development group?
No. Those are
Where does that go?
their assets. I don't know. You'd have to talk to them.
Yeah.
So if that's it, I'll just move on to a couple quick other ones. We will soon be back out on the ground working on the rest of Milltown State Park. As soon as this snow melts, it's going fast, not fast enough for my liking, but our contractor has probably another less than 60 days of work to do there. And so we're aiming to get that wrapped up in May or early June, hopefully. And then have a grand opening event in the Confluence on June 23rd. And we really want to make a big deal about it. It's gonna, we'll have some dignitaries there doing a little bit of speechifying, but then kind of have a full day of events involving, little tree plantings for kids and a lot of talks. Kate Davis with the Raptors will be there. We've got a bunch of speakers lined up for the afternoon. It's still kind of in the works and planning. Olivia's been a great hand with that thus far, and you'll hear a lot more about this as it approaches. But just save the date, June 23rd. It's the first Saturday of the summer, and we hope to kind of make a big splash with the opening here at the Confluence. Before then, we have a few other events coming up on Earth Day. Earth Day weekend at least, April 21st. We'll be out at the Clark Fork River floodplain doing some planting there. We've done that for the last few years. It's always very popular if you want to come out and get your hands dirty and plant a few trees. What else is coming up? We've got first weekend of June is National Trails Day. We'll have some kind of event either on our Bandman Flats property or maybe at the Confluence itself. What else is it? March 29th is a fundraiser for Milltown State Park. There's a new foundation called the Montana State Parks Foundation, and they wanted to take on a few projects early on, and they've chosen Milltown as one of them. So there'll be a fundraiser at the Imagination Brewery, thank you, which is on Broadway down there by the Poverello Center. We're trying to fundraise for some things that kind of fell out of our mix once we had a little bit of sticker shock with our development costs. So some things like park benches and some landscaping, and these were things that we identified as probably likely we could fundraise for. And so we're trying to fundraise for half a dozen park benches, and they'll be similar to the ones that are up at the Overlook. They're made out of sinker logs pulled from the Blackfoot, working with Bad Goat Timber here in town. But yeah, that should be a fun thing, and it's also the day after the 10th anniversary of when the dam was breached. That was 10 years ago already. It's hard to believe. Time has flown, no doubt.
What was the date of that?
That's March 29th. And I think that's all the news I have. I'm happy to answer any questions. Anybody got any?
I have a question there.
Yeah, okay.
Mike, what about this land over here across from the mill?
Our park property there? Well, it's still ours.
Well, that's all.
We still are challenged with an access issue there as well. You know, there's from kind of where our gateway area is by the pedestrian bridge upstream to where our property begins on the Blackfoot. You know, that's basically where the old Bonner Dam was, or the Stimson Dam. So from there all the way out, kind of around the bend opposite Way Station. That's all part of the state park as well. We're hoping we'll be able to work with the landowner there at some point. You know, Harris Thermal owns the West Log Yard. We need just a sliver of land along the Blackfoot to connect those two, and then you'd have public access to probably the lower 2 to 3 miles of the Blackfoot River, which I think would be pretty huge. But we've not had much contact with them lately, but it's still out there, and we're still gonna keep after it.
I can tell you who to get all of them. Harris support.
Is that Eric or?
No, it's the guy that owns it.
Yeah? Well, maybe we should talk. All right, well, thanks all.
Thank you, Mike.
Okay, Mike. Okay, Deborah, it's your turn. Deborah Bell from the Missoula County Public Works, and you can
Hello.
go for it.
Thank you. As he said, my name is Deborah Bell, Deb for short, because I'm short. I work for Missoula County Public Works, and I was asked by the county commissioners to come on out to all the community councils and kind of give a show and tell about what we've been working on with our GIS department for the last 6 years now, and which is a culmination of all of our public records, bringing it together into one facility, one area that's available on our GIS site that has all of your septic permits, your building permits, your public records available, so you can do all your research for your property in one spot. And I'm going to go through that really quickly with you. The PowerPoint that I have a handout on it. It's located on the center table here. The front sheet looks like this in blue. You'll also find there our home buyers resource guide that we put together for home buyers from Missoula County. The state of Montana is a buyer beware state, so there are things that you need to know when you go to buy a home. For instance, if there are any open permits on it, does the septic permit actually match the number of bedrooms that the realtor is selling it at? Is the well good? Is it on a county maintained road? Is it not? I also have our tip sheet on how to use our GIS website out there. Also have steps you need when you're applying for a building permit. In the state of Montana, the entire Montana is covered by the exact same building code. So the same code applies in Missoula County as it does in Lake County, as in Valley County. So they may tell you different. The only difference is that Missoula County actually enforces the code. Okay, so we actually do have a building department where you do need a building permit if you are going to do some sort of construction on your home. Electrical permits, plumbing permits, mechanical permits, things like that. If you don't know, just give us a call. We're more than happy to help. Also located is a workflow that your permits take, as well as how to apply online. We're one of the only facilities in the state that does online permitting, so you don't have to leave the comfort of your own home if you don't want to. You know, water heater goes out at 2 a.m. and you need a water heater permit for $11. You can apply online, pay for it online, no problem, no questions asked. We also have our policy on requesting permits or permit statistics. A lot of the community councils want to know, hey, how many homes were built during 2015? Just call us or email us, better yet, we can get you those statistics. Also available on our website, I'll show you where to find it, are all of our yearly statistics for the entire county. So we have all of that public information readily available for you and at your fingertips. Yes, sir.
Are you taking questions yet? I didn't mean to cut you off.
I'll take questions anytime.
How are you dealing with unskilled crafts doing skilled labor where there's state licenses involved? You've got Joe Handyman companies doing stuff, and they're doing electrical, they're doing plumbing, you know, they're putting roofs on places without getting permits.
Okay.
And
If they are unlicensed, if they are an unlicensed individual doing work, if we catch them at it, then we will turn them into the state licensing.
well, I filed last year 17 complaints, and I filed 6 of them right here in Bonner for that Joe Handyman doing work up here. And I finally had to go to the federal level in Denver with OSHA about it, and the state, I finally had to go to both boards.
Yep.
That's electrical and plumbing.
And our building official has gone to the boards as well, that we
Yeah.
have to follow the
I deal
proper
with
state
Steve quite a
procedures.
bit.
Yep,
Yeah,
we have to follow the state process on that.
Right.
But we do have things that we have available to us.
Can you put something on your website that Joe Contractor has been caught 3 times doing this work, so people won't hire him?
Unfortunately, we cannot. There are privacy laws that we cannot
Well, they do
violate.
that in other states that have professional licenses.
That's true, but Montana is very unique.
Okay.
Our privacy laws are very unique in that way, so we can't naysay, we can't gainsay, we can't even tell someone, oh, I wouldn't recommend so-and-so. We just can't.
Well,
So,
that's in your permitting process. If I call and ask for a plumber recommendation, you
we can
can't.
give you 3 or 4. We can always recommend, but we can't tell you who not to hire.
Okay.
So, really quickly, our GIS system. If you log onto our Missoula County webpage, this is what you're gonna get. So if you Google Missoula County, this is what your homepage should look like. If this is not what you see when you Google Missoula County, you're on the city homepage. You're in the wrong spot. Happens all the time. People just Google Missoula and they accidentally get the city. So make sure you're seeing our lovely picture of a rotunda. You know, your taxpayer dollar just paid for this beautiful rotunda upgrade in Missoula County Courthouse. So at the very bottom of the page, there is a hot link that takes you to our property information system. It's this right here. It says property info. Okay. Once you click on that, they'll take you to the start of it. Now, some tips you need to know before you go there, though. You want to make sure that you're using Google Chrome as your browser. Okay. Google Chrome actually has the best pictures available to it, the best underlying data, the best security. You also want to make sure that you turn your pop-up blocker off, because you want to make sure that all the different layers are going to start to pop up for you so you can read everything that's underlying. The help tab is there. That's actually the pamphlet or the booklet that I printed out there. It's got all the tips and tricks located on it. It's also available digitally. And also, I want to remind everyone to be smart, register for 911. You can also do that through the GIS system. And then the other thing I want to make very clear to everybody, the information that's available on our GIS system, we only use the documents that are available in the public record. So anything that's recorded at the clerk and recorder's office, anything that's a public record, that is what is available and searchable through the GIS system. Nothing that is private and personal is available. So when you click on it, this is what pops up. You have to click that red bar. It says, I accept the disclaimer. Once you accept the disclaimer, you'll be able to search for various things. You can search by the address. You don't even need the whole address. You can search by parcel house number, parcel road name, or partial road name. So if you just know, I want to, my friend Jill lives on Whispering something or other. I don't know. I think I can find it. You can just type in Whispering. It'll give you every address on Whispering Pines or Whispering Woods. Any part of a legal description, any part of a geocode. Remember, our license plates start with 04, so it's Missoula County, everything starts with 04. Township section range, Latin long, property owner last name, part of the last name, you can even search by that. So if you want to know, oh, I think my buddy Bill, what's his last name? Oh, I think it's Yeager. Yeah, Yeager. He's over there somewhere. You can search for that. You can also search the collector recorder's database for deeds, any death certificates, anything you want. It's all available. All public records are available. Plats, subdivisions, certificates of surveys, all of it is now available in one spot. So this is what pops up. You can see our outline Missoula County. We're a big county. We go all the way from just north of Condon, south all the way to Florence, east to Barrowmouth, west to Alberton. So we're a big county. We cover a lot of territory. Layers. One of the things we get called about a lot are, is my road maintained? I'll show you guys how to turn on the road layers to tell you whether or not you're living on a county maintained road or not. It'll also bring up state and local roads. You can also bring up city boundaries. So if you ever wondered where the city property line is, we can show you that. Federal lands, state lands. Any hunters in the room, you want to know, hey, is that state land? Can I get my licensing over there? You can all look that up now. It's all in one spot for everything. Zoning, is my property zoned? What can I build? Where can I build it? How far away are my setbacks? It's all now right available at your fingertips. District boundaries. You want to know the boundaries of your community councils, your voter registration boundaries. All of that is available now on our GIS site. And land ownership as well. So one of the things I like to do is I like to turn on land ownership. These are all the public lands with the layers activated. So it shows you that really only about a third of Missoula County is privately owned. So it kind of hits home, I had a lot of eyebrows raised and go, wow, really? Yeah, really. Yes,
Did
sir.
that change, that percentage change with the acquisition of major conservancy properties with Walker?
A little bit, yes. But we still have a lot of federal land. So what that means is that a lot of that land, there's no tax revenue coming in on that. So there you have it. So some of the things that you can identify. You can identify your taxes now. You want to know what your tax bill is, any documents associated with the parcel, any permits that have been issued for any type of parcel. Whether or not it's in a floodplain, we now can identify that. The voter button's not working, I don't know why. Look up your septic permits now, your well permits are soon going to be available online. Air stagnation zone, as well as links to the state CAMA data. So if you want to know, when was that barn built? Oh, it was built in 1958, and the state says it's good construction, it's 40 by 60. All of that information is now available on your fingertips.
Deb, what's CAMA?
CAMA stands for the cadastral site, and the acronym, it's cadastral. Does anybody else know? I cannot remember. It slipped my mind.
Okay.
You look it up.
Yeah.
I'll get it to you. So for instance, I zoomed in on the school, and it brought up all the legal for this school. It's the Bonner School District, number 14. Gives its varying addresses that are for the different utilities that are located around the site here. It tells me the acreage, it tells me the tax ID, the section, township, and range, its legal description, everything I need to know about the school proper. Our GIS department, they do a wonderful job. I wanted to point out, they're the ones that put all this together, bring all these different databases into one spot. They do a lot more, though. They have a lot more different apps there. They have parks and trails maps. They have a bunch of other things that are available for folks to look at, including place maps, things like that. Y'all remember working on the place project that happened a few years ago? All that stuff is available. I encourage you to check out your county website. They have a lot of stuff going on there. So they're responsible for property information, parks and trails, air quality, the sewer and well permits, which is called, they call them super, floodplain, voter information, as well as that place atlas. And then your Missoula County Public Works, that's what I'm affiliated with, that's what my full light is affiliated with. What we do, we're the building, electrical, mechanical, and plumbing permits. We're also the engineering division. We do grading and drainage review. We're your roads, your bridges, all that construction, surveying divisions under us. And we maintain 474 miles of roads. There's over 1,500 roads in Missoula County, but we maintain over 474 of it. And we're also maintain special districts. So your Lewis and Clark trailer park out in Clinton, they're a special district. There's Sunset West Special District, the Lolo Sewer and Water is a special district, and then there's also the Elmar Water and Sewer Special District. So we run and maintain and manage all of those water and sewer systems for the county residents. So these are the three most commonly asked questions we get for the Bonner Milltown area. If you want to know where to go, we're located at 6089 Training Drive. Don't go downtown. They'll send you out to us. The reason why we're located out past the airport is that we have a lot of free parking. And so you don't have to pay, especially if you're a contractor. We open at 7 a.m. We're open an hour early for our contractors. So if you've got a big, long construction trailer, lots of parking for you. You can apply online, like I said. And we're there. Our front desk staff does not take a lunch. We don't have a phone tree. Anytime you call it, you will get a human being. That's one of the things. We are very keen on customer service and making sure that we are manned there for our constituents when you need us, if we need us. And I know you're nodding your head. Yep, absolutely.
That's a good thing to have a human answer the phone.
We feel very strongly about that. If you don't know if you need a permit, please call us and ask. We're more than happy to help you and you know, just explain your project and we'll let you know if you need a permit or not. Not every project needs a permit. You know, if you want to build a shed that's under 200 square feet, you don't need a permit. Not from us. You might need a zoning compliance permit if your property is zoned, because there might be setback issues or height restrictions, but you won't need a building permit from us. And also, you know, a lot of people want to know if you live outside the city, right? Don't need a permit. No, there are parts of the county that are zoned. So let's just make sure you know what you're dealing with and where you are putting things, because that is key. The one thing a lot of people forget about is your septic system. Remember, a septic system works two ways, percolation and evaporation. Okay, so you can't put that 200 square foot shed on top of your drain field, right? Chances are it's gonna fail. You don't wanna drive on top of it, you're gonna crush your laterals. So make sure you know where your drain field is, you know where your septic tank is, and you don't construct on top of it. So that's why we ask that you ask us, because if you don't know, we'll be more than happy to tell you and show you and give you the paperwork that shows you this is where it's supposed to be, so you can figure it out. So really quickly, are there any questions? The last slide on the back of the packet are just some numbers people need to know. And I hate turning my back to you guys, I'm really, really sorry. And then I wanted to give you guys a real quick tutorial, show you in real time what the website looks like. Oh, yeah.
There you go.
Boy, that's what I usually get. I gotta call you up.
No internet.
Die. So just shut off and go home. Go somewhere else.
What did it time out on?
Yeah, it's gonna.
That's good stuff.
So somebody shout out an address.
11575 Chumrell Loop.
11575. All right. So look, there's two 11575s in Missoula County, one on Polecat, one on
You want
Shamrock.
bull cap?
You'll call him Scott. So let me close this real quick and we can bring up the aerial on it. I'll zoom in a little bit so everyone can see where this is at.
Now we all know where you live, Bert.
All you had to do is ask.
No secrets, there are no secrets. So like I said, we can turn on some of the layers to show you whether or not that's county maintained road. So you go into this little globe here on this side right here. You go into transportation, you turn on maintenance. You'll see there's public, and then there's also public non-maintained. So Chumraw Loop is a county maintained road. You can also, under the same one, you can turn on city boundaries. You can turn on zoning.
How about the city wastewater treatment plant service plan area map?
You can turn that on too. You can even turn on, I'll do you one better. You can even turn on where the
I'm sure
sewer
there's lots of
mains are.
numbers in there.
You're gonna have to go way up there, find any sewer mains.
Yeah, well, you'll see them over in East Missoula.
Right. You gotta go way out, get to East Missoula.
You're off. But you'll see it as I switch you over. Oh, look, there's the Milltown State Park. But you can see these are the sewer lines. So now if I want to go back to where you live, I can now look up where your septic is located. I can click on the septic button.
Oh, good, I've been wanting to know that.
So instead of you having to go downtown and
Yeah.
talk to the guys at the health department, which, you know, they're nice folks, I highly recommend it. But if you don't want to, you can just click on the PDF that pops up.
And that image is less than 4 years old, I know that.
Well,
Oh, penny,
this one says,
penny indeed.
this is what was installed. According to, now if you don't agree with it,
No, I do.
four
And I-
bedroom,
Yeah. Well, it's actually 5, but that's okay. You showed it, the septic system is right there.
so it's got your well location, your tank, and then your laterals.
My house is a little more square than that, though.
Probably.
It's got right angle, it's got right angle
You hope
corners.
it is anyway.
Yeah, more or less right angle corners.
So there's that. Can also tell us if whether or not you had any permits that were ever applied for. Nope. Looks like your house was probably built predates 2006.
1978.
Any documents associated with it, you click on the documents, you can see
Hey, there's Bert.
facts of warranty deeds on it.
Yeah.
Tax bill, whether or not you're in the floodplain. Bring
I
up
don't
the
think
flood
so.
map. I doubt you are because you're on the north side of the interstate,
Right.
but
Could be with the spring across the road.
here will tell you whether or not you are, so obviously you're not. Moving around a bit.
You were talking with an operator.
So you notice, yeah, like across the interstate, lots of floodplain. So why is that important? It's important because it depends on what you can put in there, that area, and what you can't, what you can build in that area and what you can't build in that area. Whether or not it has to remain just floodplain or not. Or it depends on if you know, depending on how it's labeled, whether or not you need to use alternative construction technique. So what you need to put in, no basement. Or whether or not you need to raise it up 2 feet above the lowest floodplain elevation or install flood vents. So all those things are available now for you to check out before you buy a piece of property. And again, it's important that you know this before you purchase, because a lot of times we have folks walk into our office and they say, well, the realtor never told me. And unfortunately, it is a buyer beware state. So just make sure you do your homework. Yes, sir.
What happened with the floodplain data with the Bonner and the Milltown Dam being taken out? Has that been reevaluated? Because that 100 and 500-year floodplain, at least the 100-year floodplain is going to change with those 2 dams taken out.
It's been redone. I think the latest one was done in 2015 and adopted. But double check with Todd Fleets, the floodplain administrator, on that.
I'm just curious if anything has
Yep,
been done.
that's all been taken into consideration. Yes, sir. Good question. Yes, sir.
Hi, Deborah. It's been very useful for me. I've been using it since the beginning, and it's kind of interesting to watch as everything's being added to it, all the new changes to it. It's quite a monumental task you guys done.
Thank you. Yeah, we put a lot of blood, sweat, and tears into it, and we keep adding more and more things to it. But I think we've got it pretty well nailed down. But if there's anything else that anybody would like to see that you use, that you would like to see added to it, let us know. My card's there, and we'll add it to it. If it's available and it's in the public record, we have no problem. Our GIS guy, Mike Snook, is a whiz, and he can, if it's in the public record, overlay it and bring it up and make it easier for you guys, so that, you know, your information, it's ready and available for you.
I got 2 questions. One is the GIS or the Google Maps is not straight. It's not accurate. The projection isn't accurate totally. So does that need to be adjusted for? And how do we, if we see a line that we don't think is right, does the GIS guy have to make adjustments to make the lines match up? And our property deeds are not always correct, and how does all that get handled?
Well, here's the thing you have to remember. GIS is not survey grade quality. Okay, so it's not like a surveyor has gone out there and actually surveyed your property. GIS, Geographic Information System, will probably never actually replace hiring a land surveyor to actually pinpoint where your monuments are on your property. This will get you within 3 to 5 feet, but beyond that, because it's all done with satellites, we can't guarantee any more accuracy beyond that. So unfortunately, this is it. If it's off more than 3 to 5 feet, then yeah. Or if you see that a line, some of the line work here is like way off, like you did a boundary line relocation with your neighbor, and it still shows that, you know, he owns 40 more feet of your property than what you'd agreed to, then yeah, by all means, call us and we'll get that rectified in the record so that it's actually reflected here. Or if a survey is way off or something, you know, it doesn't look right, let us know when we can fix it and make it jive a bit more with the record. One thing I do want to let y'all know too, when they did the original hip and chain survey of the area, if you look back on the original section, township, and range maps of the West, especially in this area, because of our steep topography, you gotta remember they were measuring that area with a sextant and a hip and chain. And so if you actually look at some of our township and range lines, they don't line up. I mean, you're off by a half mile in some areas. And so when you hire a land surveyor and they go out and they check stuff, I mean, we're only as good as the land surveyor that's doing those accurate surveyors today. And a lot of the property in and around western Montana hasn't been resurveyed since some of those original surveys. So if you have any question about your property corners or their locations, I strongly recommend you hire a land surveyor to do a retracement survey and figure out exactly where your property corners are. Because sometimes they could be not set, they could be way out of whack, you just don't know. And fences don't mean their property lines in the state of Montana. The fence line never means it's the property line. In some states it does. If it's undisputed, if the fence has been in place for, say, 10 years and it's been undisputed, that then becomes a property line, not in the state of Montana. It's the legal description. So whatever the legal description says.
Deb,
Yes?
just a point of interest, maybe, a lot of you may not know this, but the satellites that are giving you that image are at 2,500 miles above the earth, and they're traveling at several hundred miles an hour, and they get one that clear, that close. Technology is amazing, and it's going to get better, but it's not going to be that accurate.
Our line work is good. It's better than it was, when I started 16, longer than that, sorry. It's better than it was when I started doing this, but it is. We're still off. In the city, I know it's 3 to 6 feet off, in some areas even more so. In the county, we're off quite a bit, but we're getting better. Technology's getting better, but it will never take the place.
Well, there is an error with all two-dimensional
Yes.
maps because the land is not two-dimensional. They
That's
say we live
correct.
on a sphere that's spinning.
That's correct, yeah. So, yeah, it will, like I said, will never replace a real surveyor.
Google Maps choose to go with a map projection that is not accurate, known not to be accurate.
Correct. Yes,
When
sir.
was the last survey update done in Missoula County? You might have said it, I might have just heard you. Because I know when Chumru Lake Acres was developed, there was a survey update done at that time out there.
Well, every time a property is subdivided, it gets recorded with the clerk and recorder.
Right, but I mean, they went through the county here several years ago and readjusted stuff from years ago from the chain and rod method to the GPS method. I was just wondering if it's that done on a
That I
5-year deal, or is that?
That I don't know, and I have to ask our county surveyor, Steve Nyday, and I can ask you that if you want. I can
No, that's
relay
fine,
that.
I deal with them a little bit too.
Okay, yeah, that's a great question for Steve, but I don't know how often they update that and get that data. Yes, sir.
A little issue that concerns some of us here in the neighborhood is Trunker Drive and Zog Drive, West
Yes.
Riverside Drive.
Mhm.
The last 2 years, there was a lot of boundary around disputes there, I think, or issues there. I was wondering if your department's familiar with that and you want to give us an update or anything?
I don't know anything about it, unfortunately. I mean, I can zoom into that area and I can tell you what our current record shows, but I've not been privy to any of the discussion on that.
Okay.
Sorry.
And then the other question is,
Sure.
how much does the system cost?
That's a darn good question, and I don't really know. All of it's public record, and it was the folks that we hired, and it was our time that we put into it to build it. So the tools were already there, it was just putting the right people together to actually build it, and just our time. So, yes, sir.
With your time and stuff, how much of that was taken into the good old boy system, like down here in Milltown, when you got lots that are just teeny tiny, and back in 1900, Grandpa said Junior could live out back, so they developed a house and stuff. Is that some of the lots that have become in Missoula County to accept that, or has some of that stuff become?
Unless it's a legal description recorded in the clerk and recorder, it's not a legal lot. So I don't know. I'm not quite sure what your question.
Well, I'm just curious with, I know here in the last few years, there's been problems with deeded easements versus prescriptive easements over the county as general. But I was just curious where, a lot of the good old boy system in the old days did you kind of have to make some lines to fit in to make things work when you develop this and put it together?
No, we use public record, so whatever was a public record, that's what we used. And as people come in and notice things that were askew or not quite you know, if they had an easement signed with, you know, Grandpa George in their top drawer that wasn't recorded, then we would look at that historical document and say, was it valid? We would take it to the county attorney and say, is it valid or is it not valid? And then we would adjust the line according to that, because there can be, an easement can be valid without being recorded. But if the county doesn't know about it, then we can't make it a public record.
That's
So-
restricted.
No, it's kinda right in the first thing.
Correct. So there is a difference there, and there, you know, and that is a hot topic in state land law. It has been for about the last 10 years, so yeah, unless it's a public record, it doesn't, and unless someone wants to make it a public record, it doesn't go on. it.
So that kind
Yeah,
of gets
yes,
into
sir.
Bruce's question there.
Yes, sir.
If somebody has originally platted parcel from 1908 or something like that, and he does a survey to make sure where the boundary lines are, does his rights to the use of that land get lifted to the modern rights available? Do any of the codes, do the codes and regulations then get imposed on that land
When he
once
goes
it's
to,
resurveyed?
when he goes to develop it, yes.
If it just surveys it?
If he well, the monuments of that will always be true, regardless. So there's nothing changing with that. So the monumentation will stay the same, the boundary itself will stay the same. So there's nothing,
But there's some really critical language that when it's resurveyed for certain causes or certain reasons, it has to be defined.
Can you speak up a little bit, Bruce?
Define what kind of a survey that it is, so that they don't lose their rights that they originally had with the originally plotted land or the originally surveyed land.
oh, so you're
It
talking
is-
about, so the difference between a retracement versus, okay.
I guess
You're
that's
getting
part
into
of it, yeah.
something that's a little bit beyond me right now, that I'm not a licensed land surveyor, so I could
Okay.
not give you, I can't give you legal land surveying advice on that question. It's a great question, but I couldn't answer that.
It's
without
my
getting myself in
understanding
question. Without getting myself in trouble.
Doing a survey, we lose the rights that we had when we purchased the land. Those rights get stepped up to the current laws and regulations of the date of the survey that are in effect at the date of the survey. As a general rule, there's lots of exceptions, but
I've never heard that before, but who told you that?
well, just look at, you can bring up any of the parcels there and look at the COS and what the purpose of the survey is. It will, on each COS, they'll say what the purpose
Purpose of
is.
survey, right, okay.
And it has to be written very specifically to keep the rights of the original, when the land was originally purchased. And if somebody else buys it and resurveys it, they lose all those rights.
Yeah, not a land surveyor or land attorney, I've never heard that,
Okay.
but that would be something to ask a land
Hey,
attorney or a land surveyor.
I recommend anybody look at their certificate of survey for their property or their original plotted land and see what the definition is that, the reason why that survey was done. And that's got a critical legal meaning, and it determines the rights that you have for your piece of property.
No, I'm not arguing, words matter, they really do, words do matter. In all things, words matter,
Capital letters and punctuation.
absolutely. Any other questions or comments?
Okay.
Thank you all for your time, I appreciate
Thank
it.
What's next?
Okay, how about a bouquet period? Judy, have,
Gary's moving
oh,
around.
Gary,
He's
Gary's
moving.
wiggling.
I had a bouquet for Olivia Ryuta and Trey Hill, and that, it wasn't 20 pounds, and as you corrected, it was 7 pounds, 11 ounces. Bouquet to Olivia and Trey.
Okay. Okay, any public comment?
Got one. Wanna do
Yeah,
that?
well, DJ, why don't you stand up just a little bit and tell these people what you're doing?
Okay.
BJ Smith. I am running for this House district. I'm filed for the primary, the Republican primary, and I look forward to meeting you guys at your doorstep and listening to you. Yeah, that's about it.
Are you from out here?
I'm actually in East Missoula.
Oh, nice.
Yep. 107 Gold Nugget. So if you ever want to stop by my house, you can too.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, communications.
Okay, communications, we have a letter from the Kennecott folks, and that's the ones that are doing the copper mining up in Copper Hill, okay? And outside of Potomac. And they basically are not going to be doing any work this year on it. They're analyzing stuff, and I'd be glad to send this letter out to you, okay? But it's very simple that they are not going to do any exploration this year in 2018. Yes.
That Copper Cliffs.
Yeah, Copper Cliffs, I'm sorry. That's it.
Okay, treasurer's report.
Treasurer's report was, she's not here, so it's 138408, and she's got a couple of bills that she hadn't paid, so they're outstanding, but no dollar, nothing affecting it yet.
Okay, under action items, we don't have anything, so discussion item. And the first thing that we're gonna talk about are the fans. Steve, you want to give us an update? I'm gonna push it off on you.
I brought extra copies of your report too, Steve, here on the table.
Yeah, I see that. I don't have a whole lot to report. I know that now that the weather's changed, there'll probably be an opportunity to start changing out those fans. But the only other thing, I was hoping that some people had noticed a difference. Has anybody noticed a difference?
Yeah. My daughter lives down on Thibodeau Lane, and I noticed the fans down there.
Yeah, well, they've turned about a third of them off, 50 out of 140, and I thought I could discern a difference, but if nobody does, then nobody does. But anyway, we should probably, if the weather holds, I think we'll be able to get those other fans changed somewhere.
Yeah. So Jason Vaughn on the site project manager over at Project Spokane. Basically, the update is the weather is obviously clearing up on us now. So our goal is to start early next week on replacing the fan blades up there. We are hoping, assuming weather permits, throughout the following week, that we should be able to get the 20 test fans that we've already, or blades that we've already purchased, installed within that week. And then we can kind of try to go from there and see what kind of difference we're seeing. You know, one of the things we brought up at the last meeting too is we got to make sure that adding those new fans, that they still work with the louvers that we have. So that's another thing that we need to test. But at this point, our goal is to start installing them next week, assuming that the weather permits for that. So.
Who does your maintenance work for you?
Which type of maintenance work?
Do you have millwrights, electricians that work for you at Project Spokane, or do you have Joe Handyman coming in?
No, we have a lot of different contractors that work with us.
So you have skilled labor?
J&M Electric is one of the people that does, and they use union labor, and
It's not about union or...
no, I just was just pointing that out so you'd be comfortable.
No, it ain't about union or non-union.
No,
I'm just
I know.
asking if you have competent people doing the work, or if you're using handyman service.
No, yeah, J&M Electric does most of the work, so electrical work.
Who does your millwright work?
What's that?
Who does your millwright work?
I'm not sure.
Why did you guys turn off some of the fans? Was there a reason you didn't need it?
It's cold.
Oh.
It's cooler, yeah.
Okay, so say this does work. How long will it take when you order them, or when you start to order them, before they're delivered? And if we have to wait again for inclement weather?
Right.
So what is your projected date if it works, that they'll be installed and working.
Okay, so I don't have a complete end date, but as far as assuming that this works, which is our goal, and we're hoping that it does, it's about a 6-week lead time to ordering the remaining fans. And then as far as getting those fans replaced, again, each fan assembly can take anywhere from 2 to 3 hours to do. And our goal is to get it done as quickly as possible, assuming weather permitting. So we can't work up there when it's raining because the rooftop is slick when it's wet up there.
So how long would it take the manufacturer to deliver them from when you order?
6 weeks. That's the time.
What type of studies been done on this noise? Have you brought in OSHA, or have you hired a occupational health person to come in and set up and do studies around the community of what the decibels are?
I think we did all that in the last meeting.
Have you seen this report?
It was
For the last meeting.
Yeah, we hired,
How long has that study been done?
it's been done since June, or he came out and did the test in June. It's Big Sky Acoustics out of Helena. That gentleman was at the last meeting, the February 4th meeting.
Right.
And Sean Connolly, and he did the testing, I think, in mid to late June. We got the test results came out probably 3 weeks after that.
So there's not continuous monitoring going on?
No.
Yeah, once we get them in place, then we'll try to see from there the differences.
Are you gonna monitor the areas that were mostly impacted from the spot map we did last time?
Yeah.
I assume that that's what we'll go off, just so we have.
Two definite areas, I think,
Yeah.
that were very much impacted, up the Blackfoot and behind the school. I mean, so I hope you guys monitor those.
Yeah, I think they'll look at those same 5
Same
locations so that they can,
Determine the change.
have a known number and know what that is, and then know what it is if this, these new fan blades reduce they're talking about 8 to 10 decibels reduction. That's what they say will happen. That would be, according to the experts, that would be about half the noise. But it's not going to be dead silent. It'll be, what they're saying is it'll be about half what the level is now.
Can I make a request of you guys, when the 20 blades, the 20 test blades go in, can you notify the council so that they can post it on their Facebook page, so that folks, so you can say,
So they
hey,
can-
those 20 blades are in currently, see if you notice any difference, and folks, at the very least at the next meeting, since it'll take, probably 6 weeks to 2 months for the rest of those fans to go in, you have 2 meetings by which to comment, and say, yeah.
What our hope is that by taking the 20, now you've got enough that you should be able to, because he did testing right up on the roof. You should be able to tell with these new 20 fans, with the new blades, should be able to tell, do we really get a 8 to 10 decibel reduction in noise? If we do, and we're comfortable with that, then we would go ahead and, spend the money to buy the rest of the fan blades, but that's gonna be the question.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying.
But yeah, we should certainly
Yeah,
notify.
you're gonna have quantifiable data.
Yeah.
It'd be nice to just know what.
If you're people. One thing I was gonna point out to you is, I'm just gonna say it, it's kind of a piss poor location, because if you go over to West Riverside and you look at Bonner Mountain's a natural amphitheater. So it reflects all of that noise right back out to the west. And, you can take your readings at your fan site, but you also have to take readings in increments, and that's where you get your time-weighted averages and things of that nature. And that's what I was gonna ask, is you can hear them over on, in West Riverside, you can hear them in Milltown, the Lower Blackfoot, Hillsville, Deer Creek Road, Marshall Grade, and then I know they are here, over here in the Hellgate Pines. So, I guess that goes back to my question of, as far as the testing, you know, I personally feel as a community, we need to get a hold of the CDC or OSHA to ask them to come in and do this, because you guys are paying for it. I'm not getting on you, I'm just saying is if I want something done, I'm gonna pay for it, try and sell it to the public. And that's what I feel we're being done, is we're being sold a bill of goods. So,
Well, you'd have to check with Mr. Conley. I would assume that being he's an engineer, he's probably got a reputation and he's probably got some credibility, and he probably can't be bought for a few $1,000s, but maybe he can be. But I
No,
can
I'm
tell
just
you,
saying.
I can tell you that he hasn't been, or nobody has suggested anything. We didn't, well, you implied it, so fair enough.
But we're the
I
ones
just
that
wanna-
live in the area and we hear the noise.
No, I
And
hear
we're
that.
not used to the noise. We don't like the noise because we live here and we liked our quiet. We could sit out in the evenings and just have quiet evenings, you know, but now we have a constant hum that we have to deal with 24/7.
Right.
All right, a few minutes ago, the map was brought up, okay, so this is a good opportunity. There are dots on the table. If you haven't put a dot where you live and how the fan of noise affects you, the map is over here. Mike, the map is over here, also shows the testing locations where they have tested and where he says they will test again. So they give you an indication.
So are you still considering expanding then to the 55,000 service?
I'm sure that they're, I don't know for sure, but I'm sure that they're looking to
Yeah,
expand.
so we are looking to expand, and moving forward from this point on, we're currently working with an architect engineer in town at a redesign of how we're doing any future expansion to be more efficient with cooling, which will result in having to use less of these types of fans for cooling. So we are in the process of trying to design out different ways that we can cool more efficiently, so that moving forward, we're not making the problem worse that we're trying to take care of.
I know they were talking about the air, liquid cooled, but you have the river right there, why? I just
Well,
thought,
for one-
you don't need to have a enclosed thing, but you could use the river.
I don't know that we could use the river.
It seems like the state and all of them are willing to help you guys.
Right.
Why you couldn't work with them to make
Just-
allowances?
That would be hugely detrimental to the river itself
Yeah.
if they were to use the water to cool.
Why?
Because it comes out hot. So,
Yeah.
Well, you can't build some pools on there that they're gonna let the air fly back out, plus you got all that ground space out there that you can't put like they do for the houses, an underground cooling system.
I'm not
sure
a
that you
cooling
can look
engineer,
into-
so I hear what you're saying. I don't know, but I do, I have heard, like he's saying, that there, that there's water issues that come into play with using river water in circumstances like that. So I don't know what the cooling would be for using anything like that, but, any water that comes in has to be recirculated back out, so.
So I guess I would just like to see another liquid cooling system considered at some point, and just the cost of it, I don't know, I don't have any idea. But if it's another 10% or 20% greater, it might be worth it. And it doesn't have to come out of the river. There's systems that use well water, deep wells, and recirculate that. And there's some really efficient systems that can be used. And
Yeah.
I would just encourage you to just investigate those as well.
And we are, I mean, the part, and not from river water, so to speak, but we are looking at evaporative cooling systems that, sometimes hospitals use to keep humidity in the air in hospitals. So we're looking at different options that are reasonable. A lot of people, water cooling in the sense of each individual machine is just not a possibility. Like I said at the last meeting, it's just too cost prohibitive to try to do that on the amount of equipment and the size of the building and everything for that. So we are in the process of trying to look at other options aside from the fans that we are doing moving forward. And anything that we can do, even with what we have currently running, we are also looking at different ways of better cooling. The better cooling that we have, the less amount of fan noise that we have to have. And right now, we're in the process of one of our we're trying to, in our chambers in our building, we're trying to enclose the hot aisle and try to redirect air better, so that it's not just a matter of raising all the heat up and trying to exhaust it right out the roof. On a large scale, if you've seen that building, it's, you know, heat rises, and so we're trying to exhaust everything out of the entire top of the building. So, so we are looking at other ways to try to do that.
You know, my concern is if you make a little game with the new fan blaze, I mean, that would be great, but then you add a bunch more, what have you gained? You know what I mean? You make a little game with noise and it muffles it a little bit, but then you add a bunch more, aren't you gonna be right back where you started? You just, with the sheer volume of more servers?
I
See
don't.
what I'm saying?
I hear what you're saying. It's not the servers inside that are making
The
the
fans
noise.
then.
It's the fans on the
Because if you
roof.
expand, you're gonna have more fans. So
Well, but
the
that's what I'm saying is we're trying to do design work
I
that.
hope so, 'cause that would be extremely detrimental to this community
No.
if you guys don't figure it out before you expand.
Well, and like I said, that is why, like right now, we've got an architect firm in town that is doing design work for us as we speak. We met with them last week with all of our guys, just trying to come up with some more efficient ways of doing the cooling so that we don't have to, you know, continue on the way that we're currently at, so.
How come you guys don't do like the rest of the data centers in the world and put in air conditioning and raised floors? Because if you look at Google and whoever else, Microsoft out in Washington, Oregon, and California, you know, when they come in and they set up, they do it. I've spent my life working in these.
But it's a
things.
totally different data center. It's not at all.
Data center's a data center.
No, it's not. It's not. You can say that,
And
but
Mike,
it's
we went
not. They
over
spend
this at the
hundreds of
last
millions
meeting.
of dollars. The data centers that these are not like that at all.
Right. Air conditioning is the way to cool this
Well,
stuff.
but not for a blockchain data center. They're all over the world. They're not like Google, I can tell you that. They couldn't afford it.
That's the real big thing. I mean, we don't have nearly a budget like Google has.
Well,
And I know a lot of people think Bitcoin, they hear Bitcoin, they think of all these billionaires and millionaires. It's not.
Yeah, it's all crypto and it's all paper.
It's not like that. We have, you know, we have a budget that we're trying to keep within as well, and we're trying to do things as efficiently as possible. And also, you know, being smart about how we're trying to spend the money. And so you know, the best I can tell you guys right now, we are working on this. We don't want this to be a problem. You know?
I can tell you if it helps you, the University of Montana probably puts out as much heat as you do and requires as much cooling as you do, and they've been ground source heat pumps for decades over there. If that's an option, to go and talk to the TNC shop over there as far as, you know, what their wells and pumps and stuff, but every building over there has heating and cooling out of ground source, and you know, as a whole, they're probably dealing with as much heat and cooling as you're requiring. If not,
I doubt it.
I would say that you're dealing with more, but you know, that's the only large thing we have in this area that requires that.
The woman over there behind you's got a question?
Yeah, I had to leave the last meeting early, but I put a parking lot question up about health.
Okay.
Has that been addressed at all, or?
What about it?
Well, just the community health, I found that a lot of people are having a lot of issues since that's gone in. You know, our animals leaving was a big one. My dog, just since the fans has been, I have to give her medicine every day so she doesn't lose her hair. I itch all the time, I'm losing my hair. Those are the concerns. I mean, the noise is bad, don't get me wrong, I do object to the noise. But I also want to know what it's doing to our bodies. And I had addressed that, and like I said, I had to leave the meeting early. I had to sit there.
Sure, and I mean, I'm just the manager there. I honestly, I have no idea about the health issues and things behind it, and I don't, you know, I honestly don't even know where to start with that.
Well, that's, I kind of started to get the ball rolling, and I was hoping maybe the health department had been called, or anybody had done any kind of studies or anything. Because I'm not the only one with these issues. I've checked around, and there's a lot of people that are having, since the fans went in, a lot of issues.
Joyce? I think the council and possibly the commissioners are going to try to look into it. I tried to call the health department as well as two different departments at the university to try to find a speaker to come to the last meeting to address that issue. And there just isn't anybody that focuses on that specifically or could really come and address any of those questions. And so we have to look into that a little bit further. But we do plan on looking into it on our end.
What about maybe doing a survey of the local residents of, have they had any issues, Like I say, I've kind of done my survey, but I don't know everybody.
We've sent out postcards, we've sent out emails, we put posters up. I don't know what else you want in the way of a survey. We've asked them to come talk to us. We had a major meeting last month specifically for that. They got to. It's like they said in as far as voting and electing people. You got to show up.
Yeah. And like I say, I was at the last meeting and it was made a parking lot issue.
Yeah.
And I didn't know what that really meant, so I wanted to make sure.
It means that we need to continue to address it and kind of look into it a little bit more. I think we just haven't had the opportunity or the time to do it. But it is on our radar, and we do want to do it, so, yeah.
Regarding your question and the lady's question, if you get a hold of the Center for Disease Control, they'll talk to you a lot about it, because if you read their website, there's a lot about all the illnesses and people we're talking about, but they're very willing to talk to you.
Good enough.
Okay, that's great.
Would it be possible that, you have your email list there? If you could maybe make a suggestion that we maybe advise or establish a steering committee of people that would like to get into, maybe looking into this a little bit more and doing specific research as a committee? But to volunteers, to request volunteers?
Sure.
Because otherwise, I hate to see this just go by the wayside.
Yeah. No, I hear you.
It's not going anywhere for sure. Right, Steve? Right.
Well, thank you for all your comments and stuff.
Then I added the trailer park thing.
Oh, yeah. Missoula County's efforts to update the land use map. We have a big map. Andrew, do you have anything that you want to add to that, or?
Let me kind of give you a brief overview of what's going on here. So, and I've talked to you guys about this, so a lot of you have heard this before, but maybe not all of you. We're in the process of updating our land use map. The land use map is an element of our growth policy, which is a policy document that guides land use decisions. So what a land use map specifically does is it's a guide for future land uses. It helps make future infrastructure planning and decisions, and it helps with delivery of services. The land use map that is in place right now for the Bonner Milltown community area was developed in 1975. It has not been updated since. So for an example, the land use map is supposed to be a visual representation of your community's policies and your community's vision. So this is a representation of our policies from 1975 and our community vision from 1975. So it needs to be updated. It was called out in the growth policy as one of the major implementation steps. So we are going to be starting a public outreach process to get input on updating the land use map. And as you guys know, we're going to be spending some time here to work specifically with you, because you don't have a neighborhood plan or something that really guides policy specifically for the Bonner, Milltown, West Riverside communities. That's part of the reason why we did that visioning process back in June, because you had nothing. So this at least now we have a vision for the community on what you kind of want. So I'll put this stuff up here with Deb's stuff, but the big thing is on March 27th from 6 to 8 p.m. over at the barn, we're going to be holding a workshop to work on the land use map. We're going to be well, we don't have the specific agenda down yet, but we're gonna be talking about values, we're gonna be talking about future land uses, talk a little bit about your vision statement, maybe, and how it like interfaces with the land use map. So yeah, we're gonna, these guys will send out some sort of email, it'll probably look like this. We'll also do a postcard, which will probably look like this, just smaller. So hopefully you'll get notice of it, and you'll get your friends and neighbors to come, and it should be a lot like the visioning process. It should be, you know, working together with neighbors and a lot of fun, I think. So yeah, March 27th, 6 to 8 p.m. over at the barn. That's 1305 Hogland Ave Drive. We also have a website that's now live. It's, want to try to write this down. It's MissoulaAreaMapping.com. All one word. The 2 A's is really awkward. I always forget to put in the 2 A's, and so it goes to nothing. So remember to MissoulaAreaMapping.com. If you can't make it to this workshop on the 27th, if you go to the website, there's a online participation tool, an interactive mapping dealie, where you can go and you can submit comments. So check that out if you can't make it. Even if you can go, you can do both. So check out the online tool too. And then this will be the first. So we have no map. We have no plan. Like I don't know what this map's going to look like yet. We have to go out and talk to you guys before we start actually developing the map. But once we go out and talk to you, we'll start developing the map. And then in June, probably, we'll have another meeting of some sort where we have the map. And then we can talk about whether we like it or not. So that's kind of the game plan. Anyone have any questions? Come to our workshop, it'll be fun. I can't promise pretzels, but I bet there'll be pretzels.
Beer? That's tomorrow.
What's that? Beer? I can't. You're bringing it. So I'll leave this stuff up here. This is for a little handout on the meeting, and this is kind of a one-pager on the project. And I can email them too.
Okay, thank you. We have one more little item that was added on there. The trailer court that is being proposed. The CAPS agency, Missoula County, or County Community and Planning Services, has requested that we solicit your comments regarding Woody Mountain Court subdivision. And that's trailer court the Growls are talking about putting in on the, whatever that is, south side of 200 from Tamarack Road to their driveway. And they're gonna, Bob told me they're gonna try and put 25 trailers in there, and they're gonna be all situated. They're not gonna cut down any of those trees or anything. And it's a long time out yet, because they gotta jump through a lot of hoops. And, but they're soliciting comments, CAPS is, and probably it's on one of those sheets up there, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And they give their website. March 13th is the deadline, that's tomorrow. For comment. So if you want to comment, you better hurry up. So anyway.
There'll be more opportunities to comment too.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sure, because this is just the very start of this process. So anyway,
I put a bunch of sheets out on the table with all this information on it. If you didn't get one, I think there are 1 or 2 still left. If you don't get one, then give me your name and email address. I'll send it to you. I'll send it to you tonight.
Comment, Bruce?
I was wondering if Andrew or anybody knew what density that they got and what type of septic and stuff up there?
I believe they're doing a type 2 system is what they're proposing. Now, that doesn't mean that's gonna be what's approved, right? So,
Okay. Level 2 system?
Yep, yep.
There's lots of different types of level 2s.
Yeah, okay, so that's all I know, it's a level 2.
Okay.
And it'll be on the west end of the property. So it's, you know, your standard with the drain field and everything. That's about all I know on the community system there for.
2 or 4 dwellings per acre?
Oh, in terms of the density, I don't know, it's unbound. So
It's only limited on the sanitation.
yeah, exactly.
permit.
Exactly.
Yeah.
If anybody wants to look at it, I've got the plat of what they're proposing, and I've got a aerial view of what they've already got off of Juniper Road on the south side of the river, so, the south side of the highway. So,
Probably about the same density?
yeah,
About the same.
Well, there's,
pretty close.
I think he said 13 acres, 12 or 13 acres.
But I'll be glad, you know, if you want to look at it, I just brought the one copy I had. So.
It's a little bit spread out more so than your typical trailer park you'd see, actually, the design.
Probably less dense than the one that's already there.
Maybe, I don't know, yeah.
Yes.
There was something proposed before,
Well, there's
approved
nothing
before,
there.
and I guess that preliminary plat expired, and this is a similar proposal.
Yeah, I think he said it was like 10 years ago they proposed that, so that has run out, so they're doing it again. So, that's what we know about that, I guess. Okay, any public comment?
Right there.
There she is. We haven't heard from you all day.
I know, it's surprising. So, you guys are dealing with fan noise. We are still dealing with crime. February 7th, there were 2 young gentlemen, I'm reading off of a website on Facebook, that people update different things periodically. 2 young guys came to the door claiming to be clear satellite reps. They had no info, no card, and only a faded badge on a lanyard for ID. They also wanted to come in and look at my system. Luckily, the person said no, complete scam. Then on February 17th, 2 gentlemen about 6 feet tall, each walking around West Riverside, where the car was stolen a couple months ago. Shady backpacks, everything. This one terrifies me. Saturday, a young neighbor boy next door to my apartment just found a used needle in the ditch on West Riverside by the baseball field. I guess we all need to watch out when we're walking our children and pets. And then today, there was a white sedan that was going down every street. I'm not sure what they're looking for, so I'm not assuming, but it was a little odd. My neighbor followed them and took a picture. Looking in yards, backyards at a very slow pace, went to the trailer parks up here, kind of was looking around, spent lots of time, was on Star Drive or whatever. So again, and now that there's nice weather, they're gonna be out. They're gonna be, just make sure your stuff is locked up. If you see something suspicious, call it in. We had the officers here, it was phenomenal. They've got, as you state, the county of Missoula is huge. They were really being seen, they were making their presence known. Unfortunately, they have probably been called elsewhere. They're not as thick as they were out here a couple months ago. So if you see something, be cautious, but report it. There's numerous police reports in regards to this area out here. So yeah, be cautious, lock your stuff. Do not leave valuables in your car, including purses, guns, or anything worth value. They did catch the 2 young gentlemen, but there's more. So just wanted to kind of give you an update on that.
And also, watch your dogs and kids. That was terrifying, and it's just right down there by the Red Barn. So,
Thank you.
yes, sir.
You can ask for, extra patrols in the area.
Oh, we have, and they were, a few meetings ago, they came out and gave us an update, and they've been absolutely amazing. We're able to, with security footage, catch the 2 young men. Fortunately, the 2 young men were not working alone.
Yeah.
There's a bigger group of them, including younger women. So, yeah, I mean, they've been absolutely amazing.
I know there's a group, they moved out of Bear Creek, when the winter hit, and they're up in Donovan Creek now, but
Well, and I've heard rumor, and you guys might be able to answer it because it's up behind you, that there is an encampment right now up in, like, what is it called, the Snake? It's the
That
area
gravel
up
pit?
behind Bear.
No, it's behind the apartment buildings and the trailer park.
Okay,
Because I've seen the fire up there from my house.
okay, yes, yes. So it's up behind like the Red Barn area that, or the trailer park apartment
right.
building, so behind your house.
That'd be down from the last house.
Okay.
Thanks for bringing that up. A couple things to reiterate. Locking your vehicles. My wife and I had our vehicles broken into early January. Whatever was in there was taken, and unfortunately we had more valuable stuff than we should have in our vehicles that were, 100 yards off the road, off of 200. And we have a fenced-in yard. We didn't have the fences closed, but they parked the vehicle on the highway, and one of them walked in and rifled through our vehicles. And the sheriff was very helpful, but it was after they had already caught the folks in West Riverside, so it was other people. And I don't know if they affected anyone else here, but I know that they had hit a couple of their homes kind of between here and Tura. So, now we lock our cars every evening. So, there's also, a space between here and our place a couple miles up that is Montana DOT property that can't be, there's a couple people that live there basically permanently along the river, and you'll see them walking or riding their bikes to the bus station. I give them the benefit of the doubt because they're up pretty early and on a pretty regular schedule, so I assume they must have some kind of employment, but they are there every day, and we talk to the sheriff about it, and it's outside of his, they can check on them, but being that it's not Forest Service and there isn't a specific 2-week period in which they have to be moved off, there's not a whole lot that they can do about it in these, in that weird island pocket. So, I guess it's something to
if it falls under DOT, Montana DOT, then you can get a whole highway patrol.
And we have, and I think they're aware, and they we'll go check on it. And I think what happens is it's until something happens, it's kind of low on their priority list until they actually if they're not breaking the law currently. So but it's something that
I've said this before, I'll say it again. The sheriff's department has only got 6 active deputies on call at any given point in time. 6 to cover from Sealy Lake to Florence to Alberton. Like she said, this is a huge county, all right? And there's only 6 deputies on call. They do what they can.
And your best tool is get to know your neighbors.
Again.
Yeah.
It's strength in numbers. The closer you are to your neighbors, the less likely someone's gonna take advantage of you. So,
What's it take to get one of these crime watch deals going where you see the crime watch signs?
we tried that. Honestly,
The whole
it was a
meeting
joke.
was
Yeah.
a session of the neighbor's dog barking rather
It just
than
got-
actual crime. And it may have changed. We did that, we tried to do it a few years ago. We have signs. But we tried to do it a few years ago, and we went to a meeting, there was about 10 of us, a couple of officers, and it literally was about the neighbor's dog barking.
Can you talk to TJ and see if you can get the county to put some.
Somebody else
crime
want
watch
to talk?
signs up?
Actually, TJ was very helpful with all of this. You weren't here. I sent a very interesting email to respond, and I got lots of feedback. Yes, I did. Yes, I did. And TJ was one of them. Detectives. I had county commissioners. I had, I had all sorts of people. And they have all been supportive. But, we didn't have anything going on for a while. It's been kind of quiet with the weird weather and, the storms and stuff. I have a feeling with this nice weather out there, it's lighter, or, later, we're gonna really start feeling it again. And at that point, I know that the sheriff's department would be back here in no time at all. They know how concerned we are as a community. So right now, it's make sure your stuff is secure. Keep an eye out. There's some great security cameras on sale at Lowe's right now. One that has a light, it has the camera, it also has an alarm, and you can talk through it. So you can yell at them if you really want to. But just making sure of when your neighbor's out of town. If there's a light on in their house and it's not supposed to be, again, getting to know your neighbor, getting to know the neighborhood.
What was the Facebook group that you were referencing?
It is Crime Report. Let me pull it up. I should know it. Crime Report, Missoula and surrounding. And so there was a few of us that were administrators on this. I ended up taking it over. One of the other ladies in our neighborhood has moved into town. But it's open to the public. People post on it all the time in regards to, that's how I was reading those, was random posts. And so, and it goes, we get some stuff from Missoula area. It's not just our neighborhood, but it gives us an idea. Okay, North Side's getting hit this weekend. Even, up Grant Creek, or, so you can kind of keep an idea of what's going on in the whole Missoula area. A lot of the people that are part of it are our neighbors. But yeah, so it's open to the public.
It would be easy enough. Go ahead. Well, I was gonna say, it'd be easy enough too, to just start a local one for Bonner too.
Yes.
I mean, that's the beauty of Facebook.
Well, and yeah, I have been thinking about that because I think there's quite a few people on that one. Like I said, I just ended up taking it over. But no, I've been thinking of that, is just doing it. But then people are so confused at, where's Bonner, West Riverside, Milltown, is that East Missoula? No. And so I will probably work on that here soon and put a map of our perimeter. But I want to make sure that I get you guys up there.
Maybe they can put it on their maps.
Yeah, we can there we go, we can put it on the GIS map. Perfect.
There you go.
Perfect.
I was just curious if the county would commit to 20 crime watch signs to be put up in the community.
I've got 2 that I paid for.
Yeah, they were.
The other thing was, I'll throw $100 in the pot.
It wasn't that much. It was, but they were like $20 or $30. But it's more to support getting the place to meet. I think that's where that money goes to send out, somebody to email. It's like having a community council. So yeah, so if you guys want to do it, if nothing else, get the signs, get one, that says, do not pass my property, you're within view, within target, so whatever you want your sign to say. But yes, within range. Yeah.
You said something about security systems. I'm picking up another phone tomorrow, but there is something called Alfred that the sheriff's deputies told us about. And it does all of that. The second phone is motion activated. You can talk on it, you can listen on it. It's all video and you can record it.
And that is.
And it's free.
Exactly. So what it is using an old cell phone. or a phone?
It can't be iPhone, it's gotta be an Android.
Okay, so an Android is using an old Android, and there's a program that you can download on both of them, and you can use that phone as your security system. Because security systems can range you hundreds of dollars.
And because it's on the internet, you can monitor it from Hawaii.
Yeah, we've got our security cameras on.
From your cell phone,
Right.
Yeah.
Another cheap deterrent is just a motion floodlight. Like
You
we
know-
put them up at our house and that kept a lot of people, I mean, we kind of live in an area where kids go up and down our streets near the high school and.
I found that it works with unseasoned,
Right.
because if you look at the cameras that were posted way back in February, we have our cameras, they're getting in, you know, up to our vehicles, and our floodlight comes on, it doesn't even, nothing. I mean, they just kept going and then started ransacking our neighbors' stuff. There was another one where it kind of deterred them on 6th Street a little bit because they actually have their camera at their front door. But then you saw that, oh, nobody's coming out. So one of them went to that car, the other one kind of went up a little bit and was trying to figure things out. So they can deter some. Other ones just like, yeah, whatever, okay, you're lighting my path. So.
I gotta say, I've been in.
A lot more rental properties and a little less pride. I know the landlords next door to me don't care about the facility so long as they get that check from the government. They don't even care if the tenant pays their portion.
We have one of
There's no
those.
being held accountable anymore either.
Look at what the city of Missoula is wanting to do with the homeless, you know? Not to say they don't need a place to live, but I mean, there's just more lack of accountability.
And moving on.
Yep.
Okay. Ideas for, anybody have any ideas for that April meeting? Boy.
Watch out.
I think Judy's hand was up first.
I was wondering about the idea of having a candidate forum. There is going to be a forum oh shoot, I've got it, where's my note? There are going to be candidate forums at Seeley Lake, and they're going to be, April 9th is going to be the commissioner, the justice of the peace, the sheriff, the fire district, and U.S. Senate up in Seeley Lake on April 9th, and again in Seeley Lake on April 11th, the sewer district, House District 92, and the U.S. House. In addition to that, in Missoula, I think it's at 7 p.m. in the city council chambers, and I think the date is April 10th. There will be a Democrat candidate for state and county offices, but my thought was it'd be great to have our House district candidates from both parties in a forum, and also the commissioners, but that's a lot of people, so I don't know. So I'm kind of having second thoughts about that and how to.
You and I have had a couple of emails back and forth on this, and I think as you started off was one thing, and as it grew, I think in my mind, it's a little unwieldy. I would like to have a candidate forum for the general election, not for the primaries.
Yeah.
I mean, that's my thought.
And it is, it's a lot of candidates for a council meeting, and there are these other forums that are gonna happen April 9th, April 11th, and April 10th.
Right.
So I guess that I would encourage the council to let people know about these so they can go to them and.
Oh, we can do that, for sure.
Yeah. That was it.
Judy?
This is Shelley, you can help me out here. What did we end up finding out about the trail between Riverside Drive and the trail system to the Black Bridge?
The sidewalk, like,
Yeah.
there's nothing that can be done. That's basically it.
Was it that we were gonna wait until that property was developed and then see if the county could require a sidewalk?
It's
or-
possible if they if Harris Thermal on that side, if they do something else, I think it might be possible to look at the sidewalks, but the sidewalks, because they're on the perimeter of the property, I think if they subdivide more, it might just affect what's within their property, within the subdivision.
So the problem's back now, that's nice weather.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Very narrow shoulder, 2 cars passing on Riverside Drive.
Yeah, and I mean, it's,
Yeah, from the town
It's a
pump.
chronic problem.
it is, and I don't even know who to go to.
I don't either.
Public Works, they said they're coming to me and it's nothing. I mean, there was like, I think on the, what was it, the town pump side, they had agreed to do sidewalks, like a certain width of sidewalk along it, and they just never did it, and it was so long ago that most of it was never enforced, and it never will be at this point.
Bruce?
So I recall a few years back, the Missoula County voters paid $42 million to put in the soccer fields out at Port Missoula. And of that, $3 million was set aside for trails and access trails countywide. And that was matched 5-1 by the federal government. So that's $15 million available for us to put in trails. And of that, I believe Olivia has already worked to get some of that money for the trail to Tamarack, or trail to East Missoula, from Tamarack to East Missoula. Isn't that out of the same monies? And can
Is
those
there any
monies-
money left?
I can't imagine, well, when I went down there, I was the first person to ask for money, and they wanted to talk to me, they were all excited. Maybe you just have to go down there and ask them for money.
Bruce,
It's
go
your
for
money. It's your money, you voted for it, right? They
it.
should.
You just nominated yourself.
I don't want to spend my money.
So the way that works, Ruth, is that the county parks and Rec allotted, I think, $370,000 towards the 1.8 million trail. And the other money for that trail had to come from the state and the Transportation Alternatives Grant, and that money was not granted. So the $370,000 is what, and what they expect is you match that with other funds. But it's not an automatic match that's already there. You have to find the match.
Is it the federal side that requires the match, or is it the county side?
It's the county side.
And did we vote that in? We spent $42 million on that.
Yeah, well.
And did the county have to match part of it for the soccer fields?
No, I think that's a different situation. But the point is that there's $3 million there and they're expecting it to be matched. And fair or not, that's the way it is. And so you can get some of that money, but then you have to find a match somewhere else. And it's not an automatic 15 million because it's 3 there at 501. You have to find the other 4 or the other 5. So, but it's there.
And if you don't find,
Maybe Andrew knows the name of the gentleman that's ahead of that money.
I do, yeah. I can put you in touch.
okay,
Yep.
we'll take that. I did get a phone call, well, that was on the agenda for April. Anything else on that?
We haven't so far.
Okay. I did get a phone call today, right after I drove back from Helena, that a company called DOWL Consulting out of Helena wants to be on our agenda for May to discuss the I-90 bridge replacements. So
For May?
we've got May, yeah, May 14th.
Do you know, there was a, do you know when the comment period is for that? I know they asked for public comment as to if they want to do some closures of the river. Does anyone remember when that?
That would probably be what he'll talk about.
So.
That's all I got.
Okay, we still didn't get anything for April.
No, we'll work on it.
Okay,
That'll be a short
go work on it.
Got it.
No comment.
Okay, our next meeting is April 9th. What?
We'll do the fans.
Okay,
That's always on his agenda.
that's always on the agenda.
paying for all these.
Oh, wait a minute, did you mean we're gonna go over and help install them? Is that what you're saying?
I know.
I can work a wrench.
All right,
Okay,
I move we adjourn.
Second.
all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
We're gone.
We're out of here.
Not that comfortable.